Hi guys, so in this video what we are going to talk about is strings and the new method additions that happen to string. Now the reason we are starting with string is because it is the most simplest addition that can happen to it. Now the first thing is strings as compared to in JavaScript versus the other language, they have not gained much momentum during the years, especially as the strings have evolved in other languages. It is not the same case for JavaScript. Now what has happened is in ES5 we finally got a trim method for string. However, the JavaScript community continued to evolve strings further, and now we have more methods that have been added to string in ES6. Developers have always used index of methods to identify strings inside other strings since JavaScript was first introduced. ES6 includes the following three methods that I'm going to talk about that are specially designed to do the same. The first one is the include method, which returns true if the given text is found anywhere within the string. It also returns false if it is not. The next one that we have is the starts with, and as the name suggests, it returns true if the given text is found at the beginning of the string. Now if the text is not matching in the beginning of the string, it gives you a false. The third one is the ends with, and again as the name suggests, returns the true if the given string is probably at the end of the text. If it is not, it will return a false. Now each of this method accepts two arguments, the text to search for and an optional index from which to start the search. Now when the second argument is provided, the includes and starts off start the match from the index, while ends with starts the match from the length of the string minus the second argument. When the second argument is omitted, includes and starts with search from the beginning of the string, while ends with starts with the end. Now in this effect, the second argument minimizes the amount of string being searched. So therefore it is always advisable that if you know that you're going to get something in the string, it will be definitely an optimized approach to put the second argument. Now let's see them in example, because that was enough of the theory. Let's start to do some practice. So as we always start, let's say we have a variable message is equals to hello world. Yes, that's always the case, right? So let's try to do something which is console.log, and let's try to do msg, which is the message starts with, and let's put the string hello. Let's see what we get. It's true. The next we'll see is ends with, and it ends with an exclamation mark. So let's try to do that, and even that becomes a true. The next one is includes. Let's see if it includes any O. Oh, that's a 0. It should give you false. Alright, so all three are giving you an answer. Now let's make sure that we already put some text in between so that we know what is our text versus what is the console log. So what I've done is I've quickly added some notation in front of the text just to indicate that this is the console log, because CodePen automatically runs every time I type in something or change something. So first, second, third, all are true. Let's try to do something else. Let's try a negative scenario. Let's copy all of this and let's try to do starts with O. So this should fail. This should give you an error, or probably a false rather. This should give you a false. Let's say it ends with world. Let's add the complete. Let's see what happens. It should give you true. So the 5 is true. Let's change the sixth one, which is message.includes. Let's say we want to give something which is not there in the string an X, and again that will give you a false. So as you can see, these two conditions are false, and the third and center condition, which is ends with, is true, because we exactly matched everything. Let's try to do console log and try another scenario now with the second argument to see if it works correctly. So now we give O, which is 0, 1, 2, 3 and fourth position. So let's try to search O from the fourth position, which means starts from fourth position, and this time the answer should be true. Let's see the answer. So 7 is true, as you can see. Now let's give 8 and 9 to these so that we know that we're typing the same thing. Now ends with, it says world, it was always true, and you can also do something like this with the O. Let's copy this and paste it here. So ends with O and 4. So instead of 4, as I said, it will be taking the string or the number that you give minus the end of the string. So let's say in this case, if I give an 8, the answer would be true. Similarly, if I want to do O and 8 for message includes, because that's where it's supposed to start from. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So this should give you a false because 8th one itself is O. So if I give a 7, includes will work for it. So the ends with actually works because now you have hello world, which is 12 letters long. So the moment you give the index as 8, what it does is 12 minus 8, which means the 4th index, which is as good as saying starts with of O at the 4th position. So this and this kind of get equivalent, and that's why both are true. Now let's see the next one, which is includes of O and 8. And as it says, the 8th position O is not included, and therefore you cannot see it on the screen, and it's a false because the 8th position is actually R. So if I change the position for O to, let's say, 7, the answer becomes true because the 7th position is O. So that's why I'll keep it as 8 and make it false. So those are the 3 methods that are added as part of the string upgrade. Now there is one more method which is not related to substrings but is also added to the string, and it's called repeat. So the ES6 also adds repeat method to strings, which accepts the number of times to repeat the string as an argument. Let me show you an example so that you can relate to it better. So let's say I have a console.log and I give the letter as X. Now this works, it should print out X onto the screen. Now if I do a dot repeat of this one, and let's say I want to repeat it 3 times, so it should give a console log of 3 X's. 1, 2, 3, 3 X's. Correct? Now let's do a console.log of, say, hello, and let's do a repeat, let's say 2 times. So it should give you hello, hello. As you can see, it gives you hello, hello. Let's try the 3rd turn. And now let's do ABC dot repeat, and let's repeat it 4 times. So it should give you ABCs 4 times. Fantastic, right? Now this method is a convenience function above all else, and it can be especially useful when manipulating text. It's particularly useful in code formatting utilities that need to create indentation levels. Let me show you an example. So let's say you have a variable indent is equals to a space dot repeat and say 4 times. And let's say indent level is equals to 0. Similarly, if you want to give 4 spaces at a time, if you have to give, let's say, whenever you want to increase the indent, actually let's call it as a new indent, is equals to indent, whatever was the indent, dot repeat it, because every time you do an indent, let's say you give tab once, tab twice, tab thrice, the indent should increase. So this should become a plus plus and indent level. So the indent level increases accordingly. So the first repeat call creates a string of 4 spaces, and the indent level variable keeps track of the indent level where it is. Then you can just call the repeat with an incremental indent level to change the number of spaces. So that was all about string additions that we saw, like the 4 methods that we saw, which was starts with, includes, and ends with, and we also saw the repeat method. So those were some of the additions for strings in ES6. So now I hope that you can handle your strings better. And trust me, I was waiting for these methods for a long time myself. So if you have any questions around this, let me know in the Q&A section or in the comments, and I'll see you in the next class.